It's time for another sketchbook tour. Woo! I started the sketchbook last year and I finished it this year. And with the sketchbook, I really tried to challenge myself to draw mostly from imagination. And I think I managed to fill up 90% or 95% only from imagination. I'm very proud of myself. And I thought it would be cool to share that because it was a very difficult journey, but also I learned a lot. So let's get started. On the first page, I just started doodling around and I tried to explore a few ideas for the word that I'm creating, and you can see that in my portfolio project videos. So I just started sketching around a couple of characters. And I again used a lot of my gold pen because I really like the way this golden pen looks on paper and implemented in your sketches. And you can tell that I had a very shaky hand that day because of the border that I tried to make, but I still like this page quite a lot. This page, I don't like that much, but I still had a lot of fun doing it. And I was at the library drawing this, I think. I'm not sure. I went to the library quite a lot in the sketchbook, so you will see a lot of pages that were just doodled in the library. I know I hated this one, but now that I look at it, I kind of like it. Really don't like this one because the proportions are off. And with him, his legs are just way too long for his body. But that's why I don't like him, and I don't like this character either, but I still like the idea that I had and put down, so at least something. And then I tried to study the muscles of the legs, and you will see those studies quite a lot in the sketchbook because I really tried to memorize everything that I learned from that book. Then, oh yeah, here I was at the library for sure, I know that, because I remember drawing him in the library and her as well, because I wanted to get a little bit more creative with my drawings and I really didn't know what to draw. So I just started to doodle around, and I don't know why, but I thought I would give her a waterfall running out of her belly. So this is something. And then I was feeling so bad about my art that I wanted to go into my comfort zone again. And I just doodled a pretty looking girl, and then I got bored and I decided to do something very different. And I decided to draw a sumo ringer. I don't know how you call them in English. And I kind of like him. I think he's very funny. I know the legs are too long again. That's something that I tend to do. But I really like him. I really like the mask and the orange colors, and it was just so much fun. I was smiling while I was drawing him so much, so that is a good sign. Then revisiting the muscles of the legs, and I also tried to write down the shapes that I could see that would maybe make it easier for me to remember the legs. And then still at the library, I was drawing some characters as well. I really don't like this page, so we will just skip it. And here I was still at the library, and I think it was still the same day, I'm not sure. And I'm so in love with how she turned out. I really like the way she turned out. I really like the character, the colors, the shading. And then I had this idea of someone playing the flute, maybe also from that world. And I also like the way this character turned out. And then I decided to doodle a dwarf kind of face that I kind of like. But I hate this page. Oh my god, the proportions are so off. And then when I came back home, I decided to draw a pose from photo. And this is the pose from photo, but I still didn't like the way this turned out, so I just called it a day. So I went to the library the next day. Oh no, I also drew this the same day as these, but at home and also from imagination very quickly. And this was also the point where I realized that I really improved since my last sketchbook, because this was very quickly done and also from imagination, and I was very proud of myself. And then here I was at the library again, and I was still studying the anatomy of the legs and trying to remember the muscles. But this page, I just love this page so much. I think I got a new color for these acrylic markers, and I really like this color, so I decided to put it in the background. But I really like this whole page. I just think it's very cool. I really like the masks here. I also love these two faces. The expression of this one is just very cool, and also the face itself is so unique. And then here I discovered my love for drawing orcs, so you will see that more in the sketchbook as well. This was still from the same day, because I was still at the library, but then I met some friends at where my university is, because there's this weekly art meetup, and I sometimes join them, but most of the times I don't have the time to do that. But this day I joined them, and then I just sketched this page. Then some more muscle studies, and also I started going to Turkish class because, listen, I understand everything when you talk to me in Turkish, but I do have an issue with speaking myself, and also especially with using the right grammar, because I like to make up my own grammar for Turkish. And I don't know, it's something that I really wanted to learn, and I really want to improve my Turkish because I want to be able to talk to my grandma more in depth about things, and in a way that she will understand me and not only me understanding her very well. Then more muscle studies for the legs. This is probably one of my favorite spreads in the sketchbook, because I remember I was walking to the library again. As I said, I was spending quite a lot of time at the library because I was doing the research for my portfolio project, world building thing, and because that is based on the Koran, I really wanted to do this in depth. Like, I wanted to dive into the Koran and the history and stuff, so I spent a lot of time at the library doing that. But also, I still wanted to manage to draw my 4 hours daily, so I sat down and just drew there. And I remember there was this guy while I was walking to the library, and he had this very, very funny hat on his, well, hat. And I saw him and I was like, I had this idea of this orc, and he is, you know, he's the one who's making swords and stuff. And I don't know if that makes sense biologically, but it was something that I had in mind. And he burned off the roots of his hair, so he is bald, but he's way too proud to just show his bald head, so he's wearing this very funny hat. Yeah. And then another orc girl that has to prove him that she is worthy of his very good swords. Yeah. And then I wanted to experiment a little bit with different orc shapes, the orc faces and stuff. And this is inspired by Trundle from League of Legends. If you know him, then you will probably recognize him. And then I looked at Pinterest and at photos from people, and I tried to draw them as orcs. So yeah. I really like the way she turned out, because I was thinking about how gardeners would look in my world. And I really like the way she turned out, but I think this outfit doesn't fit the world, so I wanted to draw her in different ways. And I hate the way all of them turned out, so we will just skip this page again. But this page is one of my favorite pages in this whole sketchbook, because I was talking to my grandma on the phone, and while I was doing that, I was looking at armor. So I drew this character and I just used references for the armor, and then I tried to come up with a pose, and also I tried to turn it around in my head and just draw it from different angles. And this is so complex and difficult, but I'm so proud of myself that I really managed to do that only from imagination, and that was hard, but I managed to do it. And I really like the way this page turned out, so yeah. Here I was drawing Jinx again. I did that last year when I was watching Arcane, and I really like the way that Jinx turned out, but I wanted to try it again. And I can see that I improved, but still I think I messed up her face here a little bit. And then I wanted to draw Jinx as a belly dancer for whatever reason, so I did that. And these are all also kind of from imagination. I mean, I had references open to see how Jinx outfits looked, so yeah. Then here I was at a coffee store right next to the library, or at a bakery, and oh my god, it was so weird. I don't know why, but every time I sit down there to draw, something weird happens, because the people are just awkward, and I don't know why, but they are commenting so much on me, and it's just weird. So I just spent a little bit of time there and decided to go to the library again. So I did that, and in our library we do also have a coffee store, so I just sat there and started to sketch people. And this one guy came up to me, and that was also so weird, and he told me that I was drawing so nice and if I wanted to draw him, and I told him no. I don't like to draw people who know that I'm drawing them. And then he asked me where I was from, and while we were talking he told me that I had an American accent. And I was so confused, because I don't even have an accent. It's because I didn't grow up speaking Turkish initially. I grew up speaking mostly German, so I don't even have a Turkish accent. I don't know where he was coming from, but that was very weird and I didn't know what to say. Then here, as you can tell, I didn't feel quite good about my art, so I decided to go back to drawing from reference. And this page is all from photo references that I found on Pinterest. Same here. These are also all based on photos from Pinterest. And then this. Oh my god. I love pirates. And I was imagining a pirate ship in my world and how the cook would look. And he's the cook and he doesn't cook very well, but he is very angry as soon as people assault his food. So he's like, if you don't like my food, cook yourself. And yeah, also I'm very proud of the angle because I again try to challenge myself by drawing more in perspective. And that was also very difficult. And as you can tell, I was trying to wrap my head around it by using blocks and thinking about the shape before drawing it. That really helped me, but still it was very difficult. And then this was, I don't know why, but I randomly had the feeling that I wanted to draw in the middle of the night. So I just sketched something. I love this page so much. I remember the day before I was studying runway models, and then this was, I think, this wasn't my warm-up. I warmed up before that. But I really felt like revisiting this idea of runway models and try to see if I remembered something, and I think I did. So then I got bored with this one and I decided to go for something more fantasy-like. So I did that with a strong, bulky woman. I don't know why, but every time I'm recording a sketchbook tour, a car randomly decides to be very loud in front of my window, so I'm sorry. I think you can probably hear it, but just ignore it. Okay, here you can see my love for One Piece. These are some of the first generation. I didn't draw every single one because I was just waiting for my boyfriend to get ready while I was doodling these around, and I tried to draw them more in my style, and I think the only one that I really like is him. I really like the way he turned out. And also him. Yeah, I just like One Piece. Then a page of me drawing faces from imagination. And as you can tell, I didn't quite like the outcome, even though she looks like a professor of mine. Yeah. So I decided to practice that a little bit more, and I decided to figure out what I don't like about my faces. So I redrew the ones that I didn't like and tried to make them, well, prettier. I don't know. Still not a huge fan of this spread. Oh! Okay, so I think this guy I saw in real life, and the day before I drew these sketches, we were watching an anime movie, but I don't remember how it was called, but it's very good. I think The Last Samurai or something like that. I don't remember, but it was so good and I felt so inspired, so I just revisited that idea the next day. Oh, I hate the spread so much. Oh my god. This was inspired by Simon Tosofsky. I'm sorry. I don't know how to pronounce that name. And yeah, the proportions are off. Very off. Then here I was brainstorming a painting that I made during that time for a very small exhibition that I took part in. Then here are the first brainstorm sketches for the character that I was designing at that time. More of the brainstorming things for my painting. These are actually from reference because I wanted to practice the style of clothes that I wanted to use for the character. And then I was getting so frustrated with this one because I really didn't know in what direction I wanted to go. But then I finally came up with something that I liked, and then based on this sketch, I designed the whole character. This is a very stiff and very slow energy sketch of this character again, but yeah. And then some warm-ups in my sketchbook. These are based on reference. These are also based on reference. And then these are, again, some brainstorms for the painting that I made. And this was like the final brainstorm thing for the painting that I made. And the final painting looks better than that, but this was just a quick sketch to see how I wanted to work with shapes and stuff. And then more muscles for the legs. Here, I drew the pose from reference, but I think I was at the library again. And here I was inspired by a painting that I saw the day before on Instagram, or a character design. This is a sticker that I got while I was visiting a friend of mine. And then this sketch is one of my favorite sketches on this page, I think. Same with this one. I really like drawing shapes and patterns in the face or on the body of the characters that I'm drawing. Yeah, I don't know. I just didn't know what to draw, so I doodled anything. And then here again, someone wearing masks, because I like to do that quite a lot. And you can tell that I liked the idea, so I revisited that idea. And then I didn't know what to draw anymore. And then I just doodled, and I don't like the proportions of her character. Yeah. Then here, another idea that I had for a painting. And I also had to get it done for the exhibition, so I did that. And then some more doodles, and also this was a warm-up page. Ooh, here I was at a coffee store with a friend of mine, and because I didn't know what to draw again, I decided to just draw what was in front of me, and that was her teacup. And I had a lot of fun. It's so simple, but I had a lot of fun doing it, especially because I only worked with 2 colored pencils, so that was nice. Then a sketch that I messed up because I decided to test some pens that I got, and I don't like the pens, so I messed up this whole sketch. And then some drawings from photo this time again. Then a sketch that I don't like, but I like this sketch. And then here are some sketches from friends of mine. Oh yes, I was at a coffee store again with friends, and I don't like the sketch, so just ignore it. And a friend of mine told me I should draw a dog, so I tried it, and well, it looks a little bit off, but I had a lot of fun, so it's fine, I guess. And you can really tell that I was running out of ideas of what to draw, so I decided to watch a movie when I got home, and I decided to watch Pride and Prejudice, and I was so inspired by the father that I just stuck with it, and I drew characters that looked a little bit like him, and then I tried to play around with shapes again. And more shapes and more random doodles with gel pen at the library again. Some drawings of friends of mine. Oh yes, okay, so here I discovered an artist that works a lot with flow and very dynamic shapes, so I tried to study them, and then I tried to apply what I learned in my own sketches, and then I tried to implement that in my own style. But here you still can see that I really tried to mimic her style more. And then here I tried to implement it a little bit more in my style, and then here I tried to mimic her style again, which looks just off. Yeah, again, mimicking her style, my style, and a random thing that we don't need to talk about. Okay, yeah, these pages are very random. I think I just wanted to get done with the sketchbook, but I really like this sketch. He's cool. Me trying to do some perspective things. Again, I was at the art meeting, the weekly thing, and I didn't know what to draw, so I drew a woman that I saw in the bus. I looked at her and I was like, oh my gosh, she looks like a queen, but a queen that isn't nice to people. So I just had to draw her, and because I liked the idea so much, I redrew her again. And here I was trying to work on my shading a little bit, because I didn't like the way I did it, so I went a little bit overboard, but then I didn't like this, so I tried to work on it a little bit and experiment with shading. And then my friend drew a small little sketch of a guy, and she asked me if I wanted to draw him in my style, so I did that. And then trying to work on my shading again. I really like the way these 3 faces turn out, but this one was drawn with my weak hand because I'm right-handed, and that was drawn with my left hand. And it's quite funny that I'm better at drawing with my left hand than writing with my left hand. So yeah, but that was a lot of fun. Here I was planning my next days, and I think the next week, I don't know. But then I did more sketches, and I really like the way I drew this queen orc woman, I don't know. But I had a lot of fun drawing her. And then, yeah, here I started to draw more pirates again. A pirate girl, another pirate girl, and another orc because I really like orcs. And here I had the idea of someone leaning forward with a very creepy looking mask, but I think I didn't capture the essence that I wanted to capture here, so... But that's fine, it's just a sketchbook. Then I wanted to draw a very weird expression, and I had the idea of an orc being bald, but at the same time having a little bit of hair, so I did that. And I think this must be one of the final spreads, yeah. Because I remember I was at the library and I was staring at the sketchbook and I didn't know what to draw. And then I saw a box with cables. So I don't know why, but somehow I had the idea of a character having heads around his body that are connected to his body through cables. I don't know. It's just a random idea. I really don't like this sketch. I really messed it up because the proportions aren't right. But yeah, it's fine. And then the last page. Oy. But I wanted to try to experiment a little bit more with shapes. I really like the way he turned out. The legs are too long again. But I tried to work on shapes. And I did experiment a little bit with that. And oh my god, the head is again too small in here as well. Okay, but I think that was it. I really learned quite a lot in the sketchbook because, as I mentioned multiple times now, I try to really rely on my imagination and the things that I already know. And also I wrote down every time I noticed something that I wasn't good at, I wrote it down so that I can improve it in my next sketchbook, and that is what I'm doing currently. But yeah, I had a lot of fun filling this, even though it was a challenge. It was very difficult in the beginning and then also towards the end. But yeah, I had a lot of fun and I hope you enjoyed watching the sketchbook tour, and I will see you next time. Bye!